So, Margaret, marry me, 'cause I'd like to date you. Okay, so no, I am not wearing my unpaid shirt today. Today is Thursday, and every Thursday I wear purple, and I just got back from the movie theater, so I figured I'll just film this one in this shirt, and the whole the whole thing says yes. I love frogs. Not that this video has anything to do with frogs. Okay, so before we get started, I just wanted to do a couple of disclaimers. These videos, reviews are completely unedited, uncensored, and if I mess up, I mess up, and we kind of just truck along and keep going with it. And there will be spoilers that happen. So if you have not seen the movie that I'm talking about and you don't want a spoiler, look at the list of movies below. All the movies that I talk about here will be there, and any spoiler I give away we'll have the header spoilers. Or if I just quote it, I'll say quotes from. Or if I just mention it, then you don't have to worry about it. But if you're worried about spoilers, check the list of movies that actually have the spoilers header. Okay, so like I said, I just got back from the theater, and this is not one that is on the poster. This is another one that is in the book and not on the poster, because the poster was made a long time ago, and the book number 24 asks for a new release, and I can't very well find a new release on a poster that's been around for the longest time. So I decided to do this review on a new release, something that's still in the theaters. No Hard Feelings. With Jennifer Lawrence. Most people will only know Jennifer Lawrence, so or Matthew Broderick too. So anyway, No Hard Feelings is the title. I don't know how long this video is going to be, because I wasn't able to take notes. I was in the theater, so I don't have a bunch of notes to go through, but hopefully there's a lot that I can remember, that I can retain to talk about. Year released 2023, this year, just a couple of weeks ago. Aspect ratio 1.85:1. Running time an hour 43. Genre romantic comedy, rom-com. Rated R. Starring, I already said, Jennifer Lawrence, Matthew Broderick, and Andrew Barth Feldman. We'll get to that. Directed by Gene Stupnitsky. Nitsky. Hopefully I'm pronouncing that right. I am so sorry if I'm not. Produced by Jennifer Lawrence. There's actually a whole list of them, and I don't want to get it wrong, because there are a lot. So I'm on the page. Let me go to all cast and crew. There are a bunch of them, so I just didn't want to get it wrong. Justine Ciarrocchi. I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing that wrong. Naomi Odekirk, Mark Provisario, and a bunch of executive producers. So there's a lot of people that put their money and time into this film. Music by Michael Donna, Jessica Rose Weiss. Awards received. Why? Okay, here's another one where I don't agree with the book. Like, why would you ask for me to review a new release and then ask me awards received? It's a new release. What awards could it receive? Anyway, okay, let's get past that. Okay, since I didn't do any notes, I'm hoping that I can get away with using the book and using as much as I can remember from the movie, because I just watched it, and hopefully I can give you a decent review. And since this is a new release, I don't know how many people are actually going to sit and watch this unless they've already watched the movie, or if they don't care to either one, watch the movie, or don't care about spoilers. I'm sorry, I'm going to give big things away, because I got to talk about the movie. So anyway, let's slowly go through the book, and then also talk about some stuff about this movie. This is the third time I have seen it, so I did like it enough to go see it 3 times, and I laughed just as hard this time as I did before. I will say, before I continue with the book, it's been really nice to get back to the theater. I said in another video, I have these scrapbooks of all my movie tickets since I started buying movie tickets for myself back in 1995, Braveheart. I saw that year Braveheart, and I saw Jumanji that year, and I have both of those, and I have every other ticket stub for every movie I've been to, whether I paid for it or not, since then. And I used to go all the time. There was a couple of years back in probably early 2000 where I worked at a movie theater, and I did accounting for them. I worked in the money room, and I did some security. And I used to get in to see movies for free, and I saw movie after movie after movie, and you can see that my book like explodes with movie tickets. And then when AMC started to do this A-list thing, again, I'm not promoting anything. I don't get paid, so I'm not promoting. I'm just telling you the things that I have that work for me. And AMC does this A-list thing that you can subscribe to monthly, and you can see 3 movies a week at any theater that they have, any type of movie. So I can go see, I can go see an IMAX film, or I can go see a Dolby Digital film, or whatever. Up to 3 movies a week on this subscription. And I used to go all the time because I figured with the price of tickets nowadays, I needed to make sure I watched 3 movies a month in order to pay for it. So I used to keep track of making sure that I watched 3. I used to watch more than 3. I used to go to 1, maybe 2 a week. So I definitely watched, more than 3 a month. And so I used to go all the time. And the whole reason why I'm bringing this up is COVID really shocked that system for a lot of us. For a lot of us who loved going to the movie theater and experiencing a movie in theater, not just big action films, but fun family films and cartoons and fun things. It's nice to be with an audience and experience the film. I grew up doing theater, a lot of theater, and so it's nice having the audience, being on the audience side, and then also being on the other side when you're acting. But I bring this up because tonight I realized it was so nice to be in a theater full of people reacting to this movie, It was so fun when I had already seen it twice, so I'm wondering, are they going to laugh at the same things I'm laughing at? And the second time I saw it, the audience was not very responsive. It was not a full house. Tonight was almost a full house, and that's good. For having been out for weeks, already in the theaters for weeks, and going up against other big movies. But anyway, it was really nice to have a really great reacting crowd tonight. A lot of laughs, a lot of little snickers. They got all this. They got all the stuff that I got. So it was fun to be in a theater full of people who were reacting the same way that I was reacting. So I had a lot of fun with that. Okay, so back to the book. Awards received. Why did you choose this particular film? Okay, aside from the fact that it's on the poster and it's a new release, or it's not on the poster, but it's a new release, so it's in the book. I don't know if. Okay, so I didn't want to embarrass myself, but I guess why not? I mean, these are just my videos. I don't know how many people are laughing at me when they watch these videos or whatnot, but I figure, okay, why not? And I don't know if I want to embarrass Andrew. I mean, is he ever going to go on YouTube and find these videos and find this review? But I think he's incredibly hot. I have a huge crush on him, and when I found out he was in this film, I was like, I gotta see this. He kind of reminds me of the first boyfriend I ever had, like official boyfriend I ever had. He's he's so sweet. He's very talented. And like a lot of people in film, especially on TV, he's not playing the age of the. He's not 19. He's 21 or 22 or something like that. He is not 19. And I don't know how old Jennifer Lawrence is, but she's playing like 32 in this. How old is she really? You know, now I'm interested in like and I'll. You know, most people do not play their age when they're in film. She was born in 1990. Okay, so she probably was playing her age, 32, when they filmed this. She was born in August 1990. So she probably was, you know, she says that she's 32 in the film. So I guess that's not outside convention, but he's not 9. You know, Andrew Barth Feldman is not 19, but he's playing 19 in the movie. Anyway, have you seen this movie before? Yes, I saw it twice already. I have a hoot. This is great. I can't wait to own it. I think it's hilarious. Would you recommend this film? Why or why not? Yes, I would recommend this film. It's definitely a rom-com. There were so many couples tonight in the theater. The second time I watched it, I didn't notice a whole lot of couples. I noticed groups, and then me and a friend of mine went and saw it together. And the first time I went and saw it, I noticed couples. Me and another friend of mine went and saw it together, just friends. But I noticed couples. The second time I saw it, I didn't notice a lot of couples, a lot of groups. This time, tonight, a Thursday night at 7:55 was the showing, and there was lots of couples. So this is a rom-com. This is definitely something you could take. That guys were having a lot of fun. This was not just a bunch of girls in the theater. I heard more laughing from men in the theater tonight than I did women. Way more laughing from men. And of all ages. When I was walking out of the theater, there was all ages walking in and out. It is raunchy. There is nudity. It is definitely rated R for a reason. So don't take your kids to it. This is like a date night type of thing, and it's fun. It's hilarious. Okay, which character were you most able to identify with or connect with in what way? Okay, I had to think about this, and initially I wanted to say Percy. Like, that was the first thing that popped in my mind, Andrew's character. And then I was like, let me think about it and make sure that that's correct. And it took me a little while, and I realized, yeah, I identify with Percy. It's because this is not therapy. I'm not trying to turn this into therapy, but I'm definitely a homebody, not necessarily on purpose. There are plenty of times where I feel very unattractive. And like I'll always be single. And I spend a lot of time at home. I don't like the bar scene. I really don't. Not only that, but I don't have a car. I have 2 motorcycles, and I will never ever drink and drive. My sister passed away from drunk driving accident, and I am not about to even have one drink and get on my motorcycle. Not even worth it. I'm not a big bar scene person, and I live in Los Angeles, and most of the like gay nightclubs, 1, everybody's drinking, and 2, I'm not a pretty boy. I'm not I don't have 6-pack abs. I don't fit here. So many gay people here are very superficial, and it's hard to just be in a crowd with them. And so I feel like Percy, where I'm just kind of stuck in my house. And, what do? I go out with my friends and things like that, but, we go play disc golf and things like that. But, I mean, I'm not going to meet anybody playing disc golf. I mean, I'm not going to meet anybody going to a theater, that's just not where you meet people. Anyway, in a way, it makes me feel like I'm antisocial, even though I'm not necessarily antisocial, but it makes me feel secluded in a way. Like I said, this is not therapy. I don't want to get too far into that. Best line or memorable quote. I think she says, "Can I touch your wiener?" The wiener dog. I think it's in the trailer too. She says it. May I touch your wiener or something like that. It's hilarious. And he's sitting there with the little dog. Were you surprised by the ending? What would you do different? Okay, let's not get into that yet. Let's talk about the movie. And like I said, spoilers, big spoilers. So I don't know how much the trailer sets up. I do feel like a lot of times I feel like the trailer just gives away too much. I mean, you're giving away a lot of the really good stuff, and you want to get people to come see it, but it just. So I had this thought because this is directed by the same guy that did Good Boys. Is that right? It's directed by the same guy who did Good Boys, Gene. Is that right? Yes. And I think Good Boys is hilarious. So the same people who did Good Boys did Superbad. I hadn't seen Superbad. I'd never seen it before. And then when Good Boys came out, I saw it with my friends and laughed my ass off. Here are these 12, 13-year-old boys, and they're making raunchy ass jokes and talking about sexual things that they don't even understand, and it's hilarious. It's so funny. I love that movie. And I had so much fun with that, and it was off the beaten path raunchy, in my opinion. Then when I went back and saw, because I like Good Boys so much, my friend told me to watch Superbad, and I was like, okay, go back and watch Superbad. I didn't have as much fun with Superbad because I found it way more hilarious that these boys are so young and don't know what they're talking about and making sexual jokes that they don't understand. I found that so hilarious. But Superbad are, late teen. These are like seniors in high school, and they're making the jokes, and they're just being teens. And I didn't find it as situationally funny as Good Boys. I thought it was good. It was fine. I didn't not like it. I thought it was good. But the whole reason I bring these two up is because this one, No Hard Feelings, is directed by the same person, and I guess I got it in my head, oh, these are the same people that did Good Boys, so I was hoping it was going to be raunchy like Good Boys and like just fun and crazy, and yes, it was kind of raunchy. There were raunchy parts to it. They were really hilarious and in your face and fun. I wouldn't say too raunchy. It's not raunchy. It was just hilarious. It was funny, and they made some funny jokes like, may I touch your wiener and that kind of thing. And anyway, I was expecting it to be more like Good Boys, and it wasn't. This is clearly a rom-com, like clearly, and I wasn't expecting that. But I still had a lot of fun. And okay, so like I started to say, there are going to be spoilers. I got to talk about the film. So I was not expecting like the whole rom-com thing. I was expecting something a little different. And so when it fell into that rom-com feel, I was like, oh, okay, this is what I'm watching. I get it. Okay. And I was expecting them to end up together at the end, and they don't. And that did surprise me a little, and that's what it asked, were you surprised by the ending? And that surprised me a little. I was like, wow, they didn't. Okay, so if the trailer doesn't set it up well enough, which I think it does, because I kind of knew this going in, is so here's Percy, and he's this secluded, antisocial 19-year-old who's going off to college, and his parents want him to. His parents like micromanage him. I don't know how else to say it. Helicopter parent. I guess that's what it's called. They say it in the movie, but I'd never heard that term before. So I guess it's called a helicopter parent, where they're constantly like watching you or paying attention to what you're doing, whatever. So anyway, they know their son really well, and their son is a virgin, and he's antisocial, and he's not dating, and he's not talking to girls, and all this stuff. And Jennifer Lawrence is like, "Are you sure he's not gay?" And they're like, "No, we've seen his internet history. He's definitely not gay." Um, anyway, so the parents are trying to hire somebody to date their son, and what they mean is to get him out of his shell, but also to have sex with him, like open him up before he goes to college. Try to get him out of his shell, and by a situation, Jennifer Lawrence is plays an Uber driver who had her car repossessed because she owes taxes, blah blah blah, whatever. That's unimportant. They posted on Craigslist that they're going to give away a car. It's not 100% spelled out, but you find out later that it's the grandfather's car, and the grandfather has passed, and they just have an extra car, and so they're like, we'll give it away if you date our son. So they warn her that he's very sweet. He's very they basically try to tell her that he's a romantic, and a hookup is not going to work. So get to know him. And I love the first meeting with Jennifer Lawrence and the two. There's a lot of stuff to talk about it before, there's a lot of little things And anyway, I don't want to get too in depth because I didn't write notes, and I would love to remember what I was trying to say. There's a lot of hilarious little things, but what I really liked about that first meeting with Jennifer Lawrence, when she goes to meet the parents and they tell her all this stuff and trying to get to decide whether she's the right person to do this. What I love is they're like, Percy doesn't drive, he doesn't talk to girls, he doesn't do drugs, he doesn't drink, he doesn't party. And Matthew Broderick is saying all this, and he says, none of the stuff that I did when I was a kid, that always all three times I watched this, it made me crack up. Why? Matthew Broderick, come on, it's Ferris Bueller. He's talking about everything he did in Ferris Bueller, and that's why they got Matthew Broderick to do this. Why in the world would you get Matthew Broderick to do this other than that connection to Ferris Bueller? I think it's hilarious. I think it's funny. I think it's hilarious. He's like, all the things he won't do all the things I did when I was a kid. and nobody got it in any three times I watched it. I mean, it didn't seem like anybody else got it. I was laughing alone at that part. So anyway, I kind of talked about that. Excuse me. I kind of talked about, based on the pre-release marketing and word of mouth, what expectations did you have? I went and saw this opening weekend, so I talked about Superbad and The Boys and how I was expecting something a little different. Did this movie meet your expectations, and why? I loved it. Like I said, I can't wait to own it. And I did talk about this already. Wow, I already did this. I can't wait to own it, and that it was a little more rom-com than I thought. And man, Andrew as Percy, he just I would love to have a boyfriend like that. He's so sweet in this movie. He's so charming, and I wasn't expecting that. So here we're talking about this antisocial, gamer kid stuck in his room, and I'm expecting, oh great, we're gonna have this, nerdy, overdone. Hollywood really likes to take stereotypes and really push it to the max, and I thought that's what they were gonna do with this character, because his parents are saying he's so so secluded. He volunteers at the pet shop, so that's a good place to meet him. Act like you're adopting a dog and go in there, and she goes in guns blazing, really trying everything Jennifer Lawrence can do to get somebody attracted to. Any normal guy would be gaga for Jennifer Lawrence coming onto them like that. I mean, I think Jennifer Lawrence is beautiful. Obviously I'm gay and she's not my type, but she is. I mean, she's got all the stuff, and she turns it full blast when she meets him, and he is just like almost oblivious. It's hilarious, that first meeting with the two of them, where she wants to adopt a dog is just great. And so I'm expecting, what I was expecting is for Hollywood to really turn the knob up on him being a geek and a shut-in, and they didn't do that. They have a really good story as to why he's antisocial and secluded, and it's very tender and heartfelt. It's wonderful. It's a really good backstory that he has, but you realize that he's not really antisocial. He's done it on purpose because of something that's happened to him, and it's nice to see how sweet and romantic and talented and adorable this guy is. When he really starts letting loose and coming, the trauma has to do with, something that happened with his schoolmates. And so here's this outside woman who is not a schoolmate, and so he very quickly kind of opens up to her, type of thing, opens up and kind of starts to be real. And it's nice to see that, because like I said, I was expecting Hollywood to act, do all this stereotype thing, and he just wasn't. He was, and it was nice. It was nice to see that. That's why, it makes for a really good pair. She's the one that's closed off, which is interesting. You don't expect that, but she's the one that's closed off and doesn't realize it. He knows he's, taking a step back socially on purpose, but he doesn't necessarily want to. He doesn't say that. He doesn't necessarily want to. He just did by default because of stuff that had happened to him. Anyway, that's getting very analytical about the characters, but it's true. It's neat. It's really nice. At the bottom here, at the very bottom, they always have a little thing after your challenge. The average movie ticket price in the U.S. in 1948 was 36 cents. I don't ever remember it being that cheap. 36 cents? Wow. By 2019, the average price had risen to $9.01 per ticket. I guess it depends on where you live. I'm going to check, because I think this ticket price was more than that. Even though I have the AMC A-list, I think it still tells me like what the ticket price was. I think. Let's see, my AMC. Will it tell me what the ticket price was? Holy wow. Okay. It said 2019. So this said by 2019, the average price had risen to $9.01 per ticket. I live in Los Angeles, so I know things are more expensive. This is 2023. This was a regular theater. This was not IMAX or Prime or anything like that. Thursday night, 7:20. It wasn't 7:55. It was 7:20. 7:20 show. Thursday night. Adult ticket. $17.99. $17.99. So yeah, ticket prices absolutely change. That's why I don't understand why they're like, when they do that, like the movie that brought the most money in. Of course, movies nowadays are going to bring in more money than movies in the 80s. The ticket prices are insane. That's why we should not be talking about how much money the movie grossed. We should be talking about how many tickets were sold. That's what we should be talking about. Did 100,000, 100,000, did 5 million people watch this movie? And then it grossed, $1 billion. The math is totally wrong on that, but I'm just saying. Or did 100,000 people watch it and it grossed, versus a movie? So what I'm getting at is, did a movie in the 80s, 5 million people watched it and it grossed, $1 million because the ticket prices were so low. You know, not $1 million. Okay, I'm totally ruining this analogy. Okay, in the 80s, did 1 million people watch it, and it made, you know, $6 million because the price of the ticket was $6. And nowadays, if the same amount of people watch it, it's not going to be 6 million. It's going to be 20 million. You know what I mean? So I don't understand how they adjust that to make it accurate. Anyway, back to No Hard Feelings. One of the parts I want to talk about, that first time he meets her on the date. I don't want to talk about every scene because I don't remember. I mean, I remember every scene. I remember all of it. But I don't want to talk about every scene because I didn't write notes that I really wanted to talk about, like the first time that they meet and he like maces her. It's hilarious. He walks out and he sees this van with the windows all and this dark colored van with all the windows like painted over, and he's like, and she's been like really coming on to him really hard, and so he's like a little freaked out. So I could talk about a lot of scenes, but what I really want to get to is some of the better scenes, like when he first comes to they do a date after he finds out that she's not trying to kidnap him and kill him or something. They set up a date for the next day, and he goes into this bar. He's 19 in the movie. He's supposed to be 19 in the movie. And he goes into this bar, like this hole in the wall, hard rock and roll. Everybody's, not rock and roll, not hard rock and roll, but rock and roll. It's not like a biker bar, but it's definitely a bar where people are like with t-shirts or tank tops and ball caps and things like that. And he's wearing like a you see him from like here up. His hair's kind of done, black tie, black jacket, coat, and a white shirt, and he's like looking around, and people have beers. He's 19. People have beers. They're all drinking. It's a bar. He's walking through the people trying to find her. She's already seated, and he's like trying to find her, and everybody's looking at him and looking at him and looking at him. And what you don't realize, maybe you don't realize the first time, is they're looking at him like this. And a couple of them do that, but maybe it doesn't register. It might not register. And then when she sees him, and you see he's got his jacket, his suit, his tie, and his white coat, and then he's got jeans shorts on. It's hilarious. It was too hot for pants. I totally get that. I have a high body temperature because of a medication that I take that gets my body temperature really high. So I'm constantly like, I have a fan on me right now. I'm like constantly warm and sweating and like, ugh. And so I totally get. He's like, it was too hot for pants. I don't know why he's wearing that in the first place. And he's so uncomfortable in this bar. It's hilarious. There are movies where I'm trying to think of it like Jim Carrey does a really good job of like, what was it I watched the other day with Jim Carrey, and he did a really good job. Oh, Liar Liar. I think he's in the court. Where is it? He does a great reaction to something. Jim Carrey does a good job of like reacting to something, like, whoa, like being spooked or react or shocked by something. He does a really good job, but a lot of times he's doing it for a laugh. And yes, it's totally a laugh, but then sometimes you're like, that doesn't seem 100% real. It seems more like he's going for a laugh, which is fine. It did the job. You did what you were going for. In this bar scene, in the first bar scene, Andrew Percy, so he's sitting there, he's like, am I allowed to be here? Because it's a bar. She's like, oh yeah, don't worry about it. And he goes, but I'm not. Oh, what did she say? Oh, no, it's fine. He says, I'm only 19. And she goes, oh no, it's fine here. And he goes, actually, I think it's a federal law. And then somebody breaks a game of billiards. If you've ever been to a bar that had a billiard table, or if you've ever played billiards, you know when you break, you hit it hard and it's loud and it's and you know you hit it, and his reaction is so hilarious. Like every single time I was in the theater, and the actor Andrew, he does such a great job, really like totally like it catches him off guard. Now the good thing is that the audio in the film is turned way up. It's not quite that loud. Like it literally sounds like a bomb went off or a gun went off or something, and the way he reacts and the way is hilarious. Andrew does such an amazing job with that every single time I've seen it so far, like the entire audience cracked up. It might even be in the trailer. I don't know. That part where he reacts to the break of the billiards is great. That first scene, their first date, you finally understand. You finally get that glimpse, and you finally understand. And I don't think it's overdone. Jennifer Lawrence is definitely what you would normally get, like a jock, a hot jock. This reminds me of something else. You would normally get like a male hot jock, has sex, doesn't remember, doesn't want, or shies away from love, doesn't want love. Several people like come up to her and say, "Why did you ghost me?" That kind of thing. Zero emotion. You would expect that to be a man. But here's this woman who's doing this, and I love it. I love the shift of like what we would normally see in a rom-com, that now she's playing the one that does the one night stands and have sex with people. In that first interaction in the bar, you find out that, you know, she just had sex with them because she was lonely and it was Christmas or whatever it was. And Andrew's character, Percy, is like, why would you have sex with someone that you didn't like? I don't understand that. He doesn't get it. He says he's a romantic. He doesn't understand that. And it's so sweet to see the shift that you would normally see the two roles reversed, that the man would be the one night stand and the woman would be the one that wants a romance. And it reminds me of this. Oh, I love it. I have the poster in my living room, not in my living room, in my office. I have the poster of Game Night. That movie is hilarious. Fucking love that movie. It's so hilarious. Game Night. I'm gonna look that up because I don't want to get things. I don't want to get certain things wrong. I hate getting things wrong. 2018 Game Night with Jason Bateman and Rachel McAdams. See, I almost said somebody. Yeah, okay. I get her name mixed up with Amy Adams. Not that I get their faces mixed up, because I know them. You know, their faces are completely different, but I get the names mixed up all the time. So anyway, I didn't want to get that wrong. So Rachel McAdams and Jason Bateman, and it has only been the last 5-8 years maybe I've gotten a real appreciation for Jason Bateman. I think what really broke me out with Jason Bateman was Hancock. I loved it so much because it was so a superhero movie that really wasn't a typical superhero movie. There was a great stuff that went on about it. I don't want to go off on too much of a tangent. There was some really cool stuff, and then it turned into like very serious and dramatic and very wonderful. And that movie really got me to like look at Jason Bateman in a different way, because I was never a Jason Bateman fan, and now the more I watch Jason Bateman, Bad Words is hilarious. Oh my god. And then this Game Night was wonderful, and there's a lot of cool stuff in that movie, camera work. Game Night, that did a lot of camera work. Anyway, the whole reason why I bring this up is because the shift in the characters. In Game Night, there's this character Ryan. Ryan, played by Billy Magnuson. It's so hilarious because he is like he's Brad Pitt. He's a little thicker. Okay. He's basically Brad Pitt. Only dumb blonde Brad Pitt. So he's like, clueless Brad Pitt. Because he's this gorgeous blonde male jock, and he's like dumb as a fence post. and here was the first time I had seen, maybe this wasn't the first time in film, I don't know, but this is the first time I had seen they took the typical dumb blonde girl and made it a male instead of a female, and that, like I said, this shift in dichotomy in between Jennifer Lawrence and Andrew Barth Feldman, their characters, I loved the shift, where the woman is the one night stand, trying to stuff her emotions in a bag type of thing. But you see that in that first date that they go on, you start realizing that that their characters are that way. You really get a good glimpse into who they are. And then after that, when they go to the beach, okay, Jennifer Lawrence is a beautiful woman. Yes, I believe that she's a very beautiful woman. I'm not attracted to women, so it's not like I find her, I am sexually attracted to her. I'm not. But she's got a great body. She's very athletic. She did some, action. She did the Mockingbird films or whatever. The Hunger Game movies. Where was I going with this? So she's. That's another thing I wanted to talk about. Let's save that for Jennifer Lawrence. Let's try to save that for another time. What I'm talking about here is that she's very athletic. She's a very beautiful woman. She's got a great body, and the part right after the dinner scene where they go skinny dipping in the ocean. There is something not right about that scene, and I can't figure out what it is. And I can't imagine that they would use a body double when Jennifer Lawrence is such a beautiful woman. So I can't figure out. So to my eyes, I can tell when I'm watching a movie, I can tell when something, you're doing a special effect and you're watching it in rewind instead of forward. My eyes automatically, I don't know what it is, but automatically can go, whoa, that's wrong. That's going backwards. That's not going forwards. And it happens often where they're trying to do some kind of special effect and they go backwards instead of forwards. And almost immediately my eyes go, whoa, that's not right. So it's the same thing with computer-generated stuff. Almost every single time, especially when they de-age nowadays, that just looks horrible to me. My eyes cannot handle it. It looks wrong. It looks fake. It's not right. When they try to do the eyes, the Passion of the Christ. Okay. When people put contacts in to make their eyes a different color, it is so insanely distracting. What was that movie Spielberg did? Oh man. The Fabelmans. The Fabelmans. I liked The Fabelmans. And it was supposed to be an unofficial type of like, this is my story, but this is not a biography. So then why the fuck? I'm sorry. Why the fuck did you put contacts in the kid's eyes? It is so insanely distracting. If this is not supposed to be you, if it is and it isn't, I'm not doing a biography, or a documentary or docudrama or whatever. I'm just doing a movie that's loosely based on my childhood. Well, then why does he have to have the fucking eye color? it's so frustrating. I find that choice. I'm sorry, Steven Spielberg. I love a lot of stuff that you did. I find that choice the absolute wrong choice because it was so distracting for him to have those damn contacts in, because you can tell they're contacts. Those are not his eye. That's not his eye color. And so, where was I going with this? The Passion of the Christ. When they did his eyes digitally, I knew it was computer, but to me, for whatever reason, it looked better than the contacts. I find contacts so disrupting, but then I also find computer disrupting. And when they did in the Passion of the Christ, they changed his eye color with the computer. I'm going down a rabbit hole. The whole reason why I brought this up is that scene where they went skinny dipping, and there is something wrong about that scene, and I've only seen it 3 times, so I haven't figured out quite what it is. But when she comes out of the water and runs after the kids and beats them up about the ones who stole their clothes, I can't figure it out if they've computer generated her body, which is possible. Maybe she didn't want to do full frontal, and the computer generated her body, somebody else's body, or put her head on somebody else's body, which is possible. The times they did that, Captain America and Black Adam, those are the 2 ones that I off the top of my head, they put somebody else's, a famous actor's head on somebody else's body to make a point, to make them look smaller or emaciated or whatever. In Captain America, he was supposed to be like emaciated, like really tiny, and then in Black Adam, he just wasn't supposed to be huge. Anyway, so it's very possible that I would have to wait till I got it on Blu-ray to really watch that scene over and over to see where my eyes are having a problem. But my eyes are definitely having a problem. There's something computer there. There's something superimposed. I can't figure it out. But what I'm like, why would Jennifer Lawrence do that to her body? Is it because she didn't want to show her body? Well, then why would you have this scene? You produced this movie. You said yes to this movie. Well, then why would you say yes to this scene and then computer generate somebody? Or is something else computer? Like maybe the ocean behind her is computer. Maybe there's lights. I can't figure it out. I don't know what's wrong with that scene, but there's definitely something to my eye that is not right with that scene. And like I said, I can't imagine that she would read the script and then say, put somebody else's body here. She's got a great body. Why wouldn't she do it herself? That brings me to my other point was Jennifer Lawrence produced this. She said yes to this. She produced this. And I had that thought tonight sitting there just before the scene I was talking about, just before when they did the bar scene. And I thought to myself, because I knew it was coming. I've already seen it twice. So they're doing the bar scene, and I knew what was coming was the skinny dipping, and they leave that, and they're starting to talk. They're on the beach, and they're talking, and I'm thinking to myself, she said yes to this. Not only did she say yes to this, but she produced this. And what did she do right before this? What was the movie before this? Okay, you may or may not know this. The movie she did before this was Causeway for Apple TV. And it was nominated for multiple, if I remember correctly, okay, now I have to look it up because major fail. I did it again. I don't know what I did. I stopped the recording again. When I went to go look up Causeway and how many Academy Awards it was nominated for, I must have hit something wrong and stopped the recording. Or maybe when I downsize the app that I'm using for recording, maybe it stopped it automatically. So here's another video where I totally did a major fail and talked about all kinds of things. I was literally talking probably for, good 10 minutes about other things. Darn it! That sucks. So anyway, Causeway. So the movie she had done before this was Causeway, which is a very serious movie. about very serious topics, PTSD. And both major characters, Jennifer Lawrence's character and Brian Tyree Henry's character, were both dealing with PTSD, but different types of PTSD. She was dealing it from the military. He was dealing with it from an automobile accident. So my whole point is that it was a very serious, very wonderful, dramatic piece. A lot of her performance was internal, not like dialogue or things that she did. A lot of it was internal, but you could tell, and it was wonderful. It's fantastic. And to see her go from that to this and then produce this, it's just great. I love how versatile she is and how amazing she is. She's wonderful. And that's... It kind of reminds me, and I talked about this in the video that got cut off, but it kind of reminds me, when you get somebody, Jennifer Lawrence is an Academy Award winning actress. She's great. She's done some stuff that's not Academy Award winning, but still fantastic performances. When you get somebody of that caliber to do something like this, it ups the stakes. And it reminds me of Russell Crowe, who is a fantastic actor. Wow. Gladiator, The Insider. Wow. Okay, so The Insider is a true story, and if you can find the 60 Minutes interview, the real live 60 Minutes interview that they talk about in the movie The Insider. This character is based on a real person, and the facts of the story are real. And if you watch the 60 Minutes interview of the man that Russell Crowe is trying to portray, and then you watch Russell Crowe in The Insider, it's amazing. His acting is fantastic. And when he did that, Unhinged, that horror film Unhinged, I turned him after I watched it. I turned to my friend and I said, that's what you get when you put an Academy Award-winning actor in a horror film. It's amazing and so believable, and so it ups the stakes of a horror film. It ups the stake. I feel the same way with, in the 80s, Rutger Hauer did a film called The Hitcher. Now, Rutger Hauer, I don't think ever won an Academy Award, but I think he is an amazing and very underrated actor. And to have him in a horror film really ups the stakes. And so when you put Jennifer Lawrence in a quirky, fun rom-com with like this, it ups the stakes. And she does such a great job of portraying this person who's so... I think they both. Andrew was amazing, with his character as well. He hasn't done a whole lot of film that I know of. I'm going to look him up. I'm almost positive. He hasn't really done a whole lot of film. TV... Student TV, short. He plays Linguini in Ratatouille, the TikTok musical. Of course he does. He looks exactly like him. And he acts like him. He's perfect for that. He was in White Noise. I need to see that. It's funny. Okay, so he hasn't done a whole lot of film, but he's amazing in this movie. He does such a great job with his character. And Jennifer Lawrence does the same thing. And she's... We find out that she went... she has a lot of trauma. We don't know... We know that her mother died and left her this house that she's in that she's trying to save. And that's the whole point of trying to get her car. Her car was repossessed in the beginning, and she's an Uber driver, so she's trying to make money to pay the taxes. That the whole reason why they took her repossessed her car in the first place. because she hadn't paid her taxes, blah, blah, blah. And we don't know exactly when her mother died, but it was probably when she was pretty young. I think she was 20, I think she said 21, I think. If I remember the story that she gives in the movie, she's about 21 when her mother dies. Her father was a rich guy who vacationed there, who had a family and had an affair with her mother, and then didn't want anything to do with them, bought him this house, gave him some money, and, you know, tried to make the whole thing go away. So she has some, you know, she's got some trauma, and she's dealing with it. That's why she's so closed off when it comes to love. That's why she likes the one night stands. She doesn't really want to know the person, that kind of thing. That's why all these things, and she does such a great job with it because she understands the character, and Jennifer Lawrence is such a great actress that, am I allowed to say actor? Actress? She's so great that she can handle this even in a rom-com. And it ups the stakes of the rom-com, in my opinion. Maybe not in everybody's opinion, but she does such a great job. It ups the stakes of the whole story. Anyway, was there another scene I wanted to talk about? I went off at a tangent, and then, you know, I talked about so many things in the other little clip. You know, the part that got... I didn't realize that... I have to figure out why it's shutting off so I don't do it again. I have a funny feeling maybe it was because I downsized it and then pulled something else up. Okay, let me think. Is there another scene I really want? Oh, yeah. The scene that always gets me. Okay, the scene that always gets me. It got me every time. When they decide to recreate their prom for their second date. The second actual date. I never went to my prom, and neither one of them went to their prom. All the situations are completely different. I knew I was gay, and we're talking about the 90s in rural, that word never comes out of my mouth right. Rural, California, Northern California, which you would assume would be accepting, but late 90s, not so much. I was out, and I wasn't about to ask a girl because I was out. I wasn't about to ask a guy because no guys were out. That would not have worked. The one, maybe two guys that might have been out were so far from what I was attracted to. It just never... Anyway, I didn't go to mine because of that reason. Because my sexuality was not accepted. Neither one of these characters have that problem. These characters are straight. In this film. I mean, I don't know about Jennifer Lawrence in her real life or Andrew Barth Feldman in his real life, but their characters are not are both straight. She didn't go because she tried to reach out to her dad, and the morning of prom, the letter that she wrote got returned to her, and she just... I can understand that. I don't know that pain. I don't know that trauma, but I can understand it. And she does such a great job with like trying to push it off, and you can see it hurts. You can see it hurts. And later on you see that she still has that returned letter. Anyway, that's why she didn't go to her prom, because the morning of prom she got the letter back in the mail. Percy, Andrew's character, Percy, didn't go to his prom because of all the shit that happened when he was younger, which is the whole reason why he's antisocial and secluded, because they got the wrong idea about his parents, and there was a rumor floating around that he had sex with his parents, and it just... That's the whole reason why he's secluded, and he just didn't go because of that trauma. So the scene that always gets me is when they try to recreate, their prom for the second date. And the reason why it always gets me is not only the whole prom thing, but here's where we get serious. Here's where it goes from being absolutely silly and ridiculous with a couple of little hints of being serious to now we get serious. They're on a date. You can tell he really likes her. And you're getting to that uncomfortable point where you have that feeling as the audience member, you have that feeling like he's going to say I love you any minute, isn't he? This is where it's going. And Jennifer has her character, I'm sorry, I keep calling her Jennifer, but her character is Maddie. And Maddie keeps having these moments of like glimpses of he's very sweet and charming and she's falling for him. This is why I thought they were going to end up together. Because this whole prom night, there are moments where she's caught off guard, letting her guard down and falling for Percy. And they're at dinner and they're talking about things, and he says this is so much better than if I had actually gone to my prom. And they're at a fancy restaurant, they're eating lobster, which I've never actually done. Anyway, they're eating lobster at a fancy restaurant. They're both done up like they would be at prom. And she says, play the piano for me. And one of the things his parents told her that he's an amazing musician, but he doesn't play for anybody anymore. This is how I found Andrew Barth Feldman before this movie, and why I was so excited about seeing this movie. I had a crush on him before this movie, because he did this YouTube. There's a YouTube video of him doing a duet with another guy. Both men. A fantastic duet. Amazing music. I don't know who did this song, but it's fantastic. And people are saying, they should do a great romantic comedy between two teenagers using this song as a music as one of the main numbers. And I agree, it's such a great number and such a sweet, he does such a great job. He is so talented. He sings very well. I don't know if I knew that he played the piano. No. I think I saw in another video that he played the piano. So I knew that he was very, very talented. And she, in the movie, in No Hard Feelings, she knows that he's talented. He said he took piano lessons. His parents said he's a great musician, but he's shy. He won't play for anybody anymore. So she goads him into playing for him, because the piano player at the restaurant stopped and walked away. Everybody clapped. Okay, he walked away. He was playing something classical, I think. And his reaction is so sweet and adorable. He's like, fuck. He's like, okay, I'm really going to do this. I'm going to do it. And she gets him to play for him. And I don't want to ruin what song it is, because it just, without the setup, it doesn't work. But you can see her shift in the way she thinks about him. She is falling for him. I don't care whether they end up together at the end or not. She is falling for him at that moment. But she doesn't want to. He's already fallen for her, and you feel it. Even though he hasn't said it yet, you know it, you feel it. He's already fallen for her. She starts to fall for him. And that part always gets me, because he's so on the fly, amazing, talented, wonderful, and I wish somebody would do that for me. You have to watch it. You have to watch it to understand. I wish somebody would be that into me, that they would do something that special and wonderful for me. And you see that shift in her character, and it's such a wonderful point. And then literally right after that, she does something to him she goes kind of on the defensive, and like, she knows this is just a hookup. This is not a relationship. And she kind of breaks him because he feels like he doesn't know the deal that she has made with his parents. And so he's got the idea that this woman actually likes me, and he's fallen for her. And so when she's trying to pull back and he's trying to, it's going opposite directions. And it's that heartbreaking part. It's not as heartbreaking as later on when he finds out what's going on. This is a different kind of heartbreak because you know it's misunderstood. You know her guard has come down and she's trying to pull back a bit, and you know he's for her. Anyway, I love that scene. That scene is brilliant. It's very wonderful, charming scene. Makes me fall for him every time. He's so sweet in that scene. There's a couple other things. I don't want to make this super, super long. I don't know how long this is because this is video number 2, and I'm 17 minutes. I don't know how long the other video was. I did want to talk about it's so strange. Like I said before, it's so nice to be in a theater with a bunch of people who are reacting the same way you are. But then it's so strange when somebody or the entire audience reacts in a completely opposite way than you. And the reason I bring that up is tonight there was a scene that the first 2 times the audience reacted the same way I reacted. Which is validating to a point. But then tonight, the same scene, the audience reacted completely different than the way I reacted the first 2 times and this time as well. And that's the scene where he finds out. After the prom, date night, after everything happens there, she says we should wait because he's a little tipsy, and he tells her that he loves her finally. She says, "You're drunk." "A little, but that doesn't mean I don't love you." And she said, "Well, we shouldn't do this when you're drunk." So she's really trying to pull back. He's dropped the L-bomb. The next morning, he gets up. He tells his parents. He's not going to Princeton. He's staying in town because she doesn't want to travel and he wants to stay with her. He actually calls her his girlfriend. So, whoa, this is not what the parents wanted. This is not what, Maddie wanted. She's trying to figure out her way out of this, I think. And the parents are like, "What the fuck? You made it into Princeton. You have to go to college. That's not what we wanted." So they get him out of the scene, and they're like, "We got to call Maddie and figure this out. We got to get her to tell him to go to Princeton. This can't. No. This is all gone the wrong way." So they call her up, and she's like, "How do I get out of this? He's becoming too attached." And they're like, "We agree. Here, you can have the car. You don't have to have sex with him. You did what we did. Just convince him to go to college." And while they're talking to her on the phone, he's in the car, which is a Tesla. I will never give that man my money. Side note. Anyway, anyway, he's in the car and he accidentally pushes the sync button to the parents' phone just at the point where Maddie says, "Oh, I don't have to have sex with him and you're still going to give me the car?" So he finds out, and it's honestly, and he freaks out and he turns it off and he hangs up the phone. His parents don't know nobody knows what happened. They both, Maddie and the parents probably think that it was a dropped call. They don't realize what happened. And when he's just said he loved her. He just said, it's my girlfriend. He's finally come out of his shell. It's what we wanted as the audience. And then he finds out, okay, those people who have been writing for television and film, those people who are writers knew this was coming. A lot of people who review movies, who see movies all the time, they knew this was coming. Had to be something. In the back of my mind, the first time I saw it, I knew there had to be a shift at some point. I wasn't sure. It doesn't matter. I always take myself out of, I want to be in the experience. I don't want to take myself out of the experience. Like I'm talking about, Forrest Gump. I have to rewatch that because the first time I watched it, I didn't understand why people loved it. And I have to let go. Like I said, I used one of my favorite comedians' lines, Gallagher. My favorite comedian, he's new eyes. Use your new eyes. I have to look at that movie with new eyes. And when I watch a movie like this, even though I know it's a rom-com and it has a formula, it's going to go a certain way, and that's just how Hollywood movies go, especially a rom-com. I knew at some point something was going to have to happen where he was going to find out, or there was going to be either he would find out or there would be an argument. Something had to get us into the third act. Basically, get us into the third act. That's what this was. It was a vehicle to get us into the third act. But I try to look at it take myself out of that and just experience what's happening. And this scene did such a great job, in my opinion, of him finding out what happened and not wanting to know, but finding out. And like I said, the first 2 times I watched this, the audience reacted in the same way I did. Heartbroken. Here's this super sweet, innocent, romantic, adorable kid who finds out that the girl he thinks is his girlfriend, who finally got him out of his shell, finds out that it's all a sham. That his parents hired her. She wants the car. And if she has sex with him, she gets the car. So she's in it. That's all she's in it for. And I find it heartbreaking. The first time I watched it, I actually teared up. I don't remember if tears dropped, but I actually teared up the first time I saw it. The second time, the emotion hit really hard. And then tonight, some guy in the audience was like, yeah! Like, where did that come from? He was like, yeah! And I was, wait, where the hell did that reaction come from? And then the entire audience started laughing. And then literally right after that, they show, Percy's character, he's just laying, like, dumbstruck, laying on his bed, and he cries. Like, the teardrop. And everybody's laughing, and I'm like, what the fuck are you laughing at? I don't understand. Because the one guy had that one reaction, and then the entire audience was laughing, and nobody got this seriousness. I felt like nobody felt the seriousness of the situation. I did still, to a degree. Tonight, it kind of took me out of it. So, while I enjoy being back in theaters and having, laughing and having fun with audiences who are also having fun, to have an audience that polar opposite from my reaction was jarring and strange and like, whoa, okay. I find it a fantastic scene. I think it's done very, very well. And the reaction of the audience tonight was strange. Anyway, then, Percy goes on the he tries to get them back. There's a lot more I could say. I don't want this to go too long. I'll just say that I was shocked when they didn't end up together, but I liked the way they ended it. If they were not going to end up together, the way they ended it was done very, very well. Percy got his independence from he demanded, which was great for his character. He stood up and demanded his independence from his parents, which was great. And, Matthew Broderick and the woman who played his mom, is Laura Benanti. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. They did a great job in that scene where he's, basically demanding independence from them and scolding them for controlling his life up to this point. And I need to be able to fail on my own or succeed on my own. And he does Andrew does such a great job with that. Percy finally gets his independence from his parents and demands it and keeps it throughout. It's a struggle to keep it, but he keeps it throughout the rest of the film, and it is a struggle to keep it. And I appreciated that. And then finally Maddie realizes that, Percy got her to see that she was stifling her life, and she was staying for the wrong reasons. Her best friends in the film also helped her to kind of see that, but he really brought it home to her how she's cutting herself off from a life that could be. And so she sells this house that she's been trying to keep to her friends, but she sells it and decides to go to California like she wanted to back when she was 21, before her mom got sick and died. And if they weren't going to end up together, which I thought they were, if they weren't going to end up together, I liked that they ended up being almost best friends. On a new adventure, both of them on a new adventure. He's going to college, she's going to California. It was a nice ending if they weren't going to end up together. So I think, the writing did its job. The writing did a good job at the end, and I didn't feel like, even though I was thinking they were going to end up together, even though I was kind of hoping they were going to end up together, I still didn't feel like it ended wrong or I was cheated or something didn't go the way I wanted to. I still felt it went well for how they ended it. Anyway, no hard feelings. It's hilarious. It's fun. Definitely a date night type of movie, especially if you can both... I know that some people can't get past the adult humor. It's not as raunchy as some things, but there is definitely adult humor in this. And if you can get past that, it's a great date night for both men and women. I know a lot of times, would I say this is a same-sex date night type of movie? That gets into a whole lot. It sucks that we can't have a date night movie that works for both straight couples and, gay couples or same-sex couples. A lot of the emotions in this film are the same, whether you're gay or straight. I don't know why we don't have films like this, that the two characters are women or the two characters are men. More. I don't know why we don't have more films like this. Hilarious, fun, well written, well acted, just mainstream rom-com, amazing films that the two characters happen to be male, or the two characters happen to be female, or we need that. But I think that this movie does a great job of being a rom-com, a fantastic rom-com that I can enjoy as a gay man. I can still enjoy, you know. I can think of a bunch of other ones that I can enjoy, but I wish they would, change. Anyway, I don't want to turn this into a political, thing. I think it's fun. I think if you're looking for a rom-com, this is a great one. Have fun with it. It is an Academy Award winning actress in the lead, and it is, a director who did, The Good Boys, who is hilarious. That's hilarious. If you haven't seen that, that's a great one too. Okay, so anyway, I will end this here. This was another movie from the book and not on the poster. Next time I will do a movie that is definitely poster worthy, because I think I've only scratched 5, and I need to it's been over a month, and I need to get moving on the poster. Well, thank you very much for watching. Don't know how many of you've seen No Hard Feelings yet. If you haven't seen it, I recommend it. See you next time.